Up sweet. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Narik Chase channel. No, I'm your boy Narik Chase, and in this video, we are going to be talking about the Lara Croft Tomb Raider live action film series. Just go ahead and give my quick thoughts on those. I haven't reviewed the movies individually, but I will get around to that, and hope y'all guys stick around to watch those reviews. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, there have been three adaptations to the Tomb Raider film franchise, at least the major ones that I've known about. If there's some low budget one, a direct to movie DVD one, I don't know about. Okay, but as far as I know, just three major ones, and these consist of the 2001 Lara Croft Tomb Raider film, the 2003 Lara Croft Tomb Raider Cradle of Life film, and the 2018 Tomb Raider film. And these movies are probably they're a video game based off a video game series. It's called Tomb Raider, which usually follows Lara Croft on these adventures, raiding tombs and dealing with ancient threats and stuff like that. But having said that, the Tomb Raider film series is kind of a polarized one because on one hand they're probably the better of the video game films, but at the same time they're kind of not good either. Like they're entertaining, but they're not actually good. Um, and I can say that because I was disappointed with the reboot as well. Now, going down the three films, I would probably say that if I was to rank these movies, I'd say the 2018 version is the best. The first, the 2001 would be the second, and Cradle of Life would be the third. Not to say Cradle of Life is bad, because at first I thought it was, and I went back and I'm like, okay, it's entertaining, but it's just cheesy like the first one. Uh, Now, if we're talking about like the character portrayals or anything like that, let me go back to my initial thoughts on the film series. As I said, they're pretty bland, but they are entertaining. They do have this great cinematic and theatrical flair to them in certain sequences. Whether when you watch those movies and you got the person walking down the street about to have like a showdown or go do some crazy stuff, and he's walking like in slow motion, and most likely there's like two or three other people with them walking, and they all doing like the slow motion walk thing. The first two Tomb Raiders did had a really bad habit of doing stuff like that. And I would say this: my biggest problem with the first two Tomb Raider films was probably that it didn't feel like a Tomb Raider film. It felt more like an Angelina Jolie film. Because there are so many sequences that happen in this film that you don't see a Laura Croft. You see Angelina Jolie, whether it's the quick wit, whether it's these action sequences, whether it's this sequence where you just see her just stepping out into the light or something like that, with the wind blowing her coattails or something like that, and you like, that's not Laura Croft. That feels more like Angelina Jolie. Now, going back to what I was going to say, if we're going towards portrayal wise, Angelina Jolie versus Alicia Vikander, I'm honestly going to lean towards. I'm sorry. What the hell is wrong with me yawning doing my damn videos? Like I'm bored. But that's not the case. Now, it's going towards Angelina Jolie and versus Alicia Vikander. Honestly, I think both women do a very good job playing that particular Laura Croft. Now, Laura Croft in the original older series, she's experienced. She knows how to fight. She knows how to raid tombs. She's good at puzzle solving, and she knows that she's a beautiful, fine ass, fit woman. And she's confident, and I like that. Angelina Jolie definitely brought that confidence, that sexuality, that strength to the character, and I like that she does a great job portraying that version of Laura Croft, even down to just the way she looks. And it's not like she uses a whole lot of makeup to do it. She doesn't. She actually looks like the fucking character. I would even go to say it feels like like the character is based off. I would say that the character was based off of her, uh, but I don't think she was like active like that when that. I knew she was doing movies around that time, but she didn't look like she does in this movie. So, but she looks damn near like the fucking character, just like the character just walked straight out the screen. Alicia Vikander, she does a great job as the less experienced Laura, the Laura that we see in the rebooted games, where she's knowledgeable about tomb raiding and stuff like that, but she actually hasn't really gone and done it with the action sequences. She hasn't taken a life. She isn't all that confident and stuff. And I can see that in her portrayal of this Laura Croft as well. Now, I know a bunch of people say yes, her transition of killing people was really fast, and in the movie it was. In the game, no. I know people bitched about that in the game too. I'm like, no, she's on an island full of killers, and she was forced to kill one, so she, in order to save her friends, which is a multitude of people, as well as defend herself, she had to kill other people. It wasn't like she was just wiping motherfuckers out for no reason. But I did like their different portrayals of the character because there are two different lores. So I'm not going to say either one did a better job than the other one. I do feel that Alicia Vikander's portrayal of the character was more towards the character, based on the character itself. I would say Angelina Jolie felt like half the time I was looking at Angelina Jolie and not Laura Croft, but that's mostly due to how the movie was written and directed. And the one time I felt like I wasn't watching a Laura Croft film in the 2018 reboot is the whole London thing when she's riding bikes and doing stupid ass shit like that. Like that whole segment, I don't care what nobody said. They should have took that out because that was dumb. It didn't add no value to the movie whatsoever, freaking ever. And it felt like the person that directed this movie, Mr. Roy Hutang, whatever your name is, you just like riding bikes through the city at high speeds, almost getting yourself killed, like a adrenaline junkie. Like that part literally does not make any fucking sense to be in this movie. I'm sorry, but I'm kind of, and I'm just thinking about, okay, which one makes for a better Laura Croft film, an experienced Laura or inexperienced Laura. And I'm kind of on the fence about it because each one brings something new to the table. I would like to see inexperienced Laura develop to become the experienced Laura that we see, that we've seen. And Jesus Christ, old. But I also would like to see like an experienced Laura be able to take on something that they have not encountered. That was one of my biggest problems with the first film, as well as the second film. Yes, she's experienced and she's somewhat dealt with stuff like this, but it felt like she was too experienced. It felt like I was playing a Resident Evil game where you expecting Chris Redfield or Leon S. Kennedy to get scared, but you realize that they've dealt with this same shit 10 games before. So there's really no reason they should be scared or feel like they can't handle a situation because they've done it 10 times before. But so I'm on the fence about that as well. I don't think that Angelina Jolie did a better job than Elizabeth Vikander, and I don't think that an experienced Laura Croft would be better than an inexperienced one because each one can potentially bring something interesting and new to the film, and I really appreciate that about that. Now I did take down some notes for idea for a good Tomb Raider movie because, as I said, the movies are entertaining and they're probably the best out of the video game films, but I honestly gotta just give my thoughts. Check out these notes. Ideas for a better Tomb Raider movie: less action, more adventure, survival, puzzle solving. All three of the films desperately, well, specifically the first two, desperately suffer from not having actual survival adventure feel to it. Now, the third one, the reboot, actually did have a little bit of it in there. And you've seen in the trailers where she fell into the river, goes off the waterfall, lands on top of a plane. Like that part is what we want to freaking see, in a Tomb Raider film. And I'm not just saying that because it was in the reboot. Like I want to see even an experienced Laura Croft get her ass kicked, have to survive against the elements and stuff like that. Definitely did not get those in the first two films, which was really off-putting because that's what you want to see Laura Croft do. Yes, you want to see her kick some ass, but at the same time, you want to see her be challenged. And one of the problems I felt like she was way too she was way too in control of everything that was going on. She knew how to handle freaking everything. There wasn't a moment in this movie where, in either movie actually, no, it wasn't a moment in the movie where it felt like she didn't know what to do. And like I said, I like an experienced Laura, but I also want her to be challenged. And I don't think she was challenged in any one of the damn movies, except for the reboot because she was young and she didn't know. Better editing, which yes, they do need to do a hell of a lot more better editing. There's like these scenes just flip flop. They don't. They start off with something but don't really give exposition or enough exposition, and then this whole thing where you see her just walking in slow motion and stuff like no, they need to cut all that shit out. That wasn't really making any sense. One of the problems in all three films is we need more memorable characters. We do. That's one of the biggest problems. And speaking of characters, let's talk about the supporting characters and let's talk about the villains. The villains of the story, the first villain is England, who plays Manfred Powell in the first one. You got Ciaran Hinds, who plays Jonathan Rhys in the second one. And then you have Walter Goggins, who plays Matthias Vogel in the third one. England is probably the most prominent one because England is just a fantastic actor and he's always great with villains and he brings such charisma and such like this suave aura about his character. Like he knows he's badass. I like his character. He's probably the most prominent one because of his personality. Um, Matthias is probably the most sympathetic, the closest one to being sympathetic because he's this guy that was put on this island by this mysterious organization by Trinity, and he wants to just get home to his family, but he does a lot of pretty terrible things in the process. Now, the problem with his character is he probably would be the best character out of all of them in terms of depth, except the movie did not do him no justice. They did not give any exposition on his character any. Like they don't give flashbacks of him with his kids. You don't see. I mean, yes, you see the emotional toll it is having on him for not being with his kids and his family, but you don't get enough of that to actually fully sympathize with him. And there are some moments where he's really cold and he's like, okay, I don't need any problems. I just want to leave. But it's like they don't show enough of him feeling remorseful at it. There was just one moment he just walked up and just shot this guy, and he had this dead look in his eye. And they're like, I want to see a little bit more emotional toil with him being on his island. Like he's like a tragic villain. He doesn't want to be the villain, but he's forced to be the villain. If they would have gave him more depth and did a little more exposition on his character, he would be the best villain out of them. But in terms of personality, in Glenn, Manfred Powell is the best one. Jonathan Rhys, I'm sorry, it was nothing to him. Yes, he was doing it for money, but there was really nothing to his character. I would have liked something. Give us a different say he had like a child or a wife or something that was dying and he needed to create a life to save her or some shit like that. That would and if he got a little money on the side, cool. But just for him, just for money, nah, that's really weak villain. In terms of the supporting cast, I guess you could say the first two Tomb Raiders do have a better supporting cast because working with Laura is Bryce and Hillary, who Bryce is like her techno geek friend, and Hillary is like a butler. And to some extent, they're pretty useless. I'm sorry, they really are. They're really useless characters. They don't really offer anything except comedic value. I did like Dale Craig's character. I liked him being like this another Tomb Raider. Problem with his character was she was smarter than him, and I didn't like that. I'm like, if he's supposed to be this famous Tomb Raider or whatever, he's supposed to know his shit. They need to both be on the same level. Now I felt like they really weren't. Uh, you have Kosa, who Digimon Housey. I said Digimon. Digimon Hausu, or whatever his name is. I would have liked him to have had a better role in the second film because he didn't do crap in that movie. Gerard Butler is probably the most memorable of the supporting characters because the dude was badass. There was a connection. I mean, yeah, Alex West did have a connection with Laura in the first film, but it wasn't as intense as it was in the second film with Terry Sheridan. I really liked this character. He was like one of those guys you can't tell if he's a good guy or a bad guy, and I really appreciate that about his character. As far as villains too, even though Jonathan Reese did suck as a bad guy, his henchman Sean was actually pretty badass. I really liked that guy. Like he was that one villain that was like maybe not as experienced with this whole Tomb Raider and stuff like Laura, but he was a credible threat. Like he could fight, he could shoot. I really like his character. Daniel Wu plays Lu Ren in the reboot. He was an all right character, but I felt like he was just there for the most part. He really didn't contribute much, and it felt like a lot of his the stuff that he did, felt like it was just shoot in, but didn't really feel relevant. So I didn't really care about his character. I did like Richard Croft in the reboot, though. I thought he had a lot more personality than the old guy in the original one, and he felt like he was a much more likable character. Out of all three films, I think all of them have interesting stories. They all do. Because Laura's got to deal with some bad guys to stop them from getting some kind of ancient power. I don't mind the stories for them, but they are a bit bland. They lack any kind of complexity outside of Laura's got to stop the bad guy. Yes, each one does have like puzzles and stuff in it to some extent, but they're not really interesting. Now, the 2018 one actually had a series of puzzles I thought was actually pretty cool. I wish the movie was more expanded on that. But let me get back to what I was saying. And all of the movies do have like high stakes because to some extent each one of the things they got Laura has to stop is like world ending or civilization ending or something like that. But I wish the stakes would be like more established. Like okay, say she's got to stop somebody from summoning some spirit, and then while she's in the process of trying to stop them, say shit's jumping off all over the world, earthquakes, tsunamis, twisters and stuff like that. Like I want to see stuff like that. How what she's doing is actually affecting the outcome of how the world is. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like when you're watching the Avengers or something, and you see the good guys are fighting Thanos, but Thanos' armies are across the planet, and then you showing either other superheroes fighting them, other supervillains fighting them, or humans fighting them, regular people fighting them. So you're like, okay, you can see how it's affecting the world. Don't really get that same feeling up in this one. Um, and again, more focus on the tomb raiding and exploring ruins. That's literally the biggest problem with these all three films. It's not enough of the adventure aspect, the puzzle solving aspect, exploring ruins and everything. I cannot stand watching these movies for that. I mean, I like the movies that I watched. I will watch them, but I can't stand that fact that none of them actually have like Laura on an actual adventure. I don't like that. I want to see her in at least 90 to 95% of the movie. Yes, you can give us exposition and all at the beginning of the movie, but if it's a 2 hour movie, damn it, an hour and 35 to 40 minutes needs to be her on an island in the mountains in a cave just doing her thing. Uh, and this is another thing that I want to see from all of these films, and I want it done better because you see it in all the films to a certain extent, but not good enough. I want two antagonistic forces. I want the bad guys that are trying to get the artifact or unlock the power, and I want the natives or some type of force that's there to stop them. In the first film, you have those statue things that was in that cave in that one temple. Like it would have been cool to see an actual. I mean, yeah, it was a pretty cool sequence, but at the same time, I felt like nobody was in danger like that because they had guns and stuff like that, and they were just blasting these things. Yeah, people were getting killed, mostly stupid people, but people got killed. And you know what I'm saying, like that one, like if it was them having to consistently fight those things throughout the entire temple, that and the rest of the movie, fine, that'd have been good because Laura has to deal with both of these bad guys. Uh, uh, in the second film, you kind of get that again. And that's the with those shadow creature things, which are really cool. which that they were more of a threat and had a larger role in that film. But she would have to deal with those shadow things as well as the guys. Um, and kind of with this last movie, which they didn't do, and it pissed me off. What they should have done was everybody know they clearly ripped off Uncharted. Yeah, just I beat the game a few months ago, and what they should have did with that one was, okay, if you're not gonna go with the natives, what you can do is release this virus on the island and have some people have to Laura have to deal with the bad guys as well as the virus. Why the hell they just didn't do that? I don't understand, but uh, and I kind of want to get into it a little bit more, but I will just come back with another part two for this because I wanted to talk about the Tomb Raider film series and what I think they should do with it. But guys, in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about the Tomb Raider film series. Which one of the movies was your favorite? Which actress was your favorite? Also, who was the better villain? And be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what's going on this channel. And we'll catch you guys later. Narik Chase, signing out.